Okay, so now it's time to get set up. So where we're not using any frameworks or compilers or libraries or anything like that, this is going to be pretty easy. All we really need to create projects with straight HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is a text editor and a browser. As far as a text editor goes, I'd highly recommend Visual Studio Code. That's what I'll be using. It's very fast, it's intuitive, it has great extensions, and I've just been using it for years, and it seems to be the most popular in the web development community. It's cross-platform, so it doesn't matter if you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux. You can download it and you can use it. So as far as extensions, I'll be going into VS Code and showing you a couple of the extensions that I'm using. And one of those is Prettier. You can read more about it at prettier.io. You don't have to come here, but I just wanted to show you the website. So basically it allows us to format our code. So if we leave a semicolon out or something is indented wrong, it'll just format it nicely, and we can have it format on save, which is what I like to do, and I'll show you how you can set that option as well. We'll also be using Emmet. So Emmet it allows us to write really fast HTML, CSS as well, but I mostly use it for HTML. And I'll show you how that works, especially in the first project. The first project is going to be kind of like an introductory project. And with Emmet, it's included with VS Code, but if you are using Atom, or you're using, Sublime Text or any of these other editors or IDEs, then you have to install it separately. And then finally, I just wanted to show you the GitHub repo that has all the projects. Okay, so if you ever need any of the code, it's here. Any of the resources. You also have links to the live demos down here as well. Okay, so let's jump into VS Code. And with every project, we're going to have at least an index.html, a script.js, and a style.css. Those are our three main files. So plan on creating at least those three files for every project. And then to look at the extensions that I'm using, most of these don't apply to us. However, I do want to show you the ones that do. One is this auto rename tag. It's pretty simple. It's just it's for HTML. So if you rename the beginning tag, it'll automatically rename the end. So you might see that happen in the video or one of the videos, and I just wanted to let you know why that happens for me and not you. It's because of this extension. So you can install that if you'd like. Another good one is bracket pair colorizer. So here you can see with the curly braces of this function, they're purple, and the if statement inside, they're blue. So it just color codes your brackets, your curly braces, your parentheses, so that if you have anything nested, you can tell where you're at, which is it's just a really cool extension for any C syntax language. And then I also have the JavaScript ES6 code snippets. A lot of times you'll see me type in CLG, and then that will give me a console log. So right here, CLG, that's pretty much the only one that I'll be using. But when I do that, that's why that works, is because of this extension. And then probably the most important extension here is Live Server. I'll be using this throughout the whole course for every project. Basically, it just allows us to open up our project on a local server rather than using the file system. And it's really easy. It's auto reload, so as soon as I save either the HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, it'll auto refresh the page, so we don't have to keep hitting reload. So I'd highly recommend installing that. And then, of course, Prettier, which is our code formatter. And that should be it. None of these other ones really apply. So as far as the settings, I'm just going to do a Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P on Windows. And if you just type in settings and you go to this Open Settings JSON, so these are my settings, and you can see I have my font size is 22. I mean, you don't have to copy my settings. I set it larger so you guys can see it. I'm using a tab size of 2. My word wrap is on so that the code doesn't go off the page. And then I don't think any of these other ones apply. I'm using single quotes. So you can see I have my Prettier JSX. Actually, that one doesn't matter. It's this one here. Single quote is set to true. So if I have double quotes in my JavaScript and then I save my file, it'll automatically turn to single quotes because I prefer single quotes. Okay. And then I think that's all I need to show you guys as far as settings go. So we'll close that up, and yeah, so that's pretty much the environment we'll be using. To open a file with Live Server, you can just go into an HTML file and just choose Open with Live Server, and it will go ahead and just pop open right on your loopback address or your local host on the default port of 5500. Okay, and then when you want to stop the server, down here there's a button. You can see it says port 5500. You just click that. It'll say disposing, and then it goes away, and the server no longer works. Okay, so we'll be using that throughout the course. All right, so I think we're all set up. Oh, the format on save, I wanted to show you that. So if we go back to our settings, you can either click here and go to settings, or do command comma. And if you just search for format on save, you can see right here I have it checked. I believe it's unchecked by default. And then this will just make it so that when you save, it auto formats your code, even your HTML. If I have an H1 here, and I have it like, oops, if I have it way over here, and if I do a save, it puts it right back where it's supposed to be. Okay, and as far as Emmet goes, I'm going to explain more of this in the first project, but if we want an H1, we can just do H1 enter. It gives us a tag. If we want an H1 with a class of test, we can do just .test enter. If we want an ID, enter. If we want a boilerplate, which we're going to do on every project, we just do exclamation enter, and it gives us our doc type, our head body tags, all that stuff. If we want a div with a class, we can just do .test like that, or you can do div.test like that. Same thing with IDs. So Emmet is really, really helpful in writing fast HTML, and I'll be using it throughout the course. Okay, so that's it. Let's go ahead and get started on our first project.